This is the luxury world. Get inspired with us today and tomorrow. In recent years, the luxury watch market has undergone significant shifts, particularly on the Rolex front. Despite its status as a global icon of craftsmanship, prestige, and horological excellence, Rolex has become synonymous with one thing that continues to confound aspiring owners: the elusive and often opaque waitlist. Recent shifts in the market, changing consumer preferences, and evolving perceptions of luxury have led to a noticeable change in the brand's standing. In today's video brought to you by the Luxury World, we will explore the multifaceted reasons behind the shift, examining why some customers are turning away from Rolex and how these factors may impact the brand's future. If you have not yet, be sure to subscribe to our channel to stay updated with all our future content. For many luxury consumers, the journey begins with careful research, disciplined saving, and a vision of acquiring a specific Rolex timepiece. Expectations are high and enthusiasm abounds. However, upon arriving at an authorized dealer, this anticipation is frequently met with a disheartening message: the watch is unavailable and is on a years-long waitlist. This is not a temporary backlog, but a recurring theme across countless Rolex boutiques globally. The consequence? A growing sense of disillusionment. The moment that should symbolize the reward of aspiration and achievement is often replaced with ambiguity, extended delays, and a lack of transparency. This experience has led to widespread dissatisfaction, not merely among first-time buyers, but among long-time enthusiasts who find themselves excluded from access to even the most basic steel models. This frustration has become a defining characteristic of the current Rolex experience. Rolex has historically embraced exclusivity as a core brand value, leveraging limited supply to enhance desirability. However, in the current market environment, this strategy appears to be pushing potential buyers away rather than drawing them in. Unlike limited edition strategies seen in other industries, Rolex's ongoing scarcity affects nearly every model in the catalog, from entry-level Oyster Perpetuals to the iconic Submariner and Daytona. The process of artificially restricting supply may have initially heightened allure, but it now often feels more like an exercise in endurance than a premium experience. While scarcity can enhance the perception of luxury, there is a tipping point where it begins to erode brand loyalty. For many prospective clients, the experience of being repeatedly told to wait indefinitely transforms excitement into fatigue. The aspirational nature of Rolex ownership diminishes when the product becomes so inaccessible that it feels unattainable. This perceived exclusivity, once a symbol of prestige, is increasingly seen as a strategic maneuver that favors a select few, rather than fostering a community of appreciative collectors and newcomers alike. Reports from prospective buyers frequently include accounts of being asked to build a purchase history, or to first purchase fewer desirable models or jewelry items before being considered for a high-demand Rolex. This creates an environment where loyalty is not built through passion for horology, but through transactional gamesmanship. Such practices have left many customers feeling alienated and skeptical. The sense that access to a Rolex is contingent upon an unofficial vetting process, rather than simple merit or purchase intent, contributes to a growing narrative that Rolex is more about privilege than product. This favoritism disproportionately impacts newer collectors and younger generations, who may lack the financial resources or patience to engage in long-term relationship building with dealers. As a result, many potential buyers are left wondering whether the reward is worth the effort. The Rolex waitlist, once perhaps seen as a status symbol that enhanced brand prestige, has now become a psychological burden for many would-be owners. Without clear timelines or frequent updates, customers are often left in limbo, unsure whether their desired timepiece will become available in months or years. This state of uncertainty has emotional consequences. What initially feels like a thrilling quest can slowly devolve into frustration and disinterest. The prolonged absence of any meaningful communication from ADs contributes to an erosion of the emotional connection customers once had with the brand. In some cases, by the time a Rolex becomes available, the potential buyer has already disengaged emotionally. Other brands may have captured their attention, offering not only comparable craftsmanship, but also greater transparency and immediacy. This erosion of emotional attachment undermines one of Rolex's most powerful marketing assets: the dream. Rolex has never simply been about telling time. It has been about achievement, recognition, and elegance. But when dreams are deferred indefinitely, they lose their potency. Exacerbating this situation are recent price increases and the explosion of the gray market. Prices have surged in recent years, fueled by constrained supply and ballooning demand. Models that once retailed for under $10,000 are now listed for well above $15,000, even if a buyer is fortunate enough to find one at retail. More commonly, buyers are forced to turn to the secondary market, where markups are even more extreme. Furthermore, the risks associated with gray market purchases are significant. Without an official Rolex warranty, authenticity guarantees, or after-sales service, customers are exposed to uncertainty and potential financial loss. The perceived prestige of Rolex is thus compromised by the very ecosystem it has enabled. Luxury purchases are inherently emotional. The decision to invest in a Rolex is often driven not only by admiration for Swiss precision, but also by personal milestones, aspirations, and cultural symbolism. However, when the ownership journey becomes fraught with delays, arbitrary rules, and economic exploitation, the emotional value begins to diminish. This is where Rolex faces one of its most profound challenges: maintaining brand loyalty in an era where consumer patience is limited and alternatives are plentiful. While Rolex watches remain technically impressive and visually iconic, the intangible value, which truly justifies their premium, is being questioned more frequently. Competitor brands such as Omega, Grand Seiko, and Tudor have capitalized on this frustration by offering comparable quality with far greater accessibility. In the higher-end segment, Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet, though also exclusive, often provide more transparent client experiences or targeted boutique strategies that leave buyers feeling more valued. The emotional toll of repeated disappointment is pushing former Rolex admirers to reconsider where their money and loyalty are directed. In many cases, other brands are now benefiting from what could have been Rolex's long-term customer base. Younger buyers prioritize brand transparency, customer experience, and value alignment. For many in these cohorts, waiting several years to purchase a product that was never officially limited in quantity does not feel like a rite of passage, but like an outdated business model. The notion that prestige should come at the cost of fairness or access no longer resonates in the same way it once did. Furthermore, these younger consumers are highly informed, social media savvy, and open to emerging microbrands or digital-first luxury companies that speak their language and deliver on their expectations. Instead of blanket scarcity, Rolex could explore ways to improve transparency, shorten wait times, and provide clearer pathways for first-time buyers. Implementing digital reservation systems, communicating production timelines, and adopting more equitable distribution methods would go a long way in rebuilding trust. By remaining rigid in its distribution and communication strategies, Rolex risks alienating an entire generation that may never see the brand as relevant to their lives, despite its historical legacy. This represents not only a short-term sales challenge, but a long-term threat to brand equity. Additionally, empowering authorized dealers with more accountability and customer service training could help improve the frontline experience. Eliminating backdoor practices and favoritism would also reassure customers that access is merit-based rather than status-based. Importantly, Rolex should embrace the digital age. By offering limited e-commerce availability, virtual consultations, and direct customer engagement online, the brand could reframe exclusivity as a curated experience rather than an inaccessible gate. Rolex remains one of the most admired luxury brands in the world. Its products continue to reflect exceptional quality, precision engineering, and timeless design. However, in its quest to maintain prestige through artificial scarcity, it risks eroding the very foundation of customer admiration and trust. The current environment, marked by opaque waitlists, inflated secondary prices, and emotionally taxing buying experiences, represents a critical inflection point. The brand must recognize that luxury in the modern world is no longer defined solely by price and rarity, but by experience, emotion, and engagement. By evolving to meet the expectations of today's consumers while preserving its heritage, Rolex can continue to dominate the horological world. But without meaningful change, it risks becoming a brand admired from afar but embraced by fewer and fewer loyal customers. What are your thoughts on the topic we shared in this video? Let us know by commenting and giving this video a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe to The Luxury World for more insights into the world of luxury timepieces.